Welcome back. 127 people of Kudankulam in Tamil Nadu have been sitting on an indefinite fast for more than 10 days now. The country needs to pay attention to what is happening there. 24 hours ago, Jayalalitha lashed out. She demanded that the proposed plant is stopped until the concerns of the people are heard. The Prime Minister immediately dispatched as a peace envoy a minister to Tamil Nadu, the minister in the PMO, Mr. Narayanaswamy. The minister gave out some unclear assurances, but for the people who genuinely fear a repeat of the nuclear disaster in Fukushima, they vowed to continue their fast unless the government puts a complete stop to the nuclear plant. As soon as we put out pictures here on Times Now of the anti-nuclear fast in Tamil Nadu, the entire protest has also gone viral. I'd like to mention from Gujarat to Haryana, even Andhra Pradesh, people fighting against different nuclear plants, fighting for the right to live without fear, came out on the streets, determined to make their voice reach all the way to the center. I'd like to welcome on the panel tonight, and we are taking up this issue for the second time on the News Hour. We picked it up about a week back, and I'm glad I'm joined back once again by G. Balachandran, who is there with us. He was there in the last debate as well. Dr. Pradipta Ghosh, former Secretary, Ministry of Environment and Forests. Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, who has a strong view for the plant, is President of the Janata Party, of course. Nirmala Sitaram of the BJP has strong views against the plant. Rachna Dhingra, the well-known activist from Bhopal. My first question is to Sunita Narayan. I'm just playing devil's advocate, Sunita Narayan, just because I want both sides to come out. Now, isn't it unfair? Isn't it unfair to be protesting against a plant when the project is in its final stages? I'm not sure of the exact amount. I'm told more than $3 billion are part of the outlay for this plant.
Arnab, I think that's a very valid question, but I think it's also a question that needs to be asked. Why is it that people are so fearful and so unsure even now when the plant is being built for the last 20 years, as we know? It clearly means that the nuclear establishment has completely failed to be able to explain its position to people in ordinary terms, but also in terms that are not patronizing, in terms that don't make people feel that they know nothing about nuclear energy, so they can ask nothing about it. And I think it's time, if we want nuclear energy to be discussed, we clearly need a situation in which, instead of behaving as with us or against us, we can actually have a debate on nuclear power. Its safety, its effectiveness, its economics.
Absolutely. How can you disregard that? Subramaniam Swamy, how can you disregard that? How can you disregard the fact that an assurance needs to be given to the people living in that region? There are thousands of people who live within the affected regions.
Well, I don't know whether the people there have been brought there. I don't get the impression from my knowledge of that part of the world that it's spontaneous. In fact, WICO was in the forefront, and WICO was playing both sides all the time. When the Kerala government said that the Mullaperiyar Dam can burst and drown the whole of Kerala, at that time he said that we have to think of modern science, and dams are an essential part. Now he is saying that the nuclear reactor is a danger to our society. Now, I personally believe this whole thing is an anti-development move, which has been motivated, in my opinion, by some foreign interests. And we have to go into that aspect, in my opinion. And that's what really counts. We have got 60% of the world's thorium. The moment we break the third cycle, we will be totally self-sufficient in nuclear energy. It's the cheapest and the cleanest energy. If there are regulatory problems, we should try to find for it.
Aren't you looking
Let me also tell you that because we have to protect Kudankulam reactors, we have created a new port, a naval port in Kudankulam, which is causing a lot of concern to some people who don't want us to police the Indian Ocean.
No, with all respect.
So there are all kinds of interests involved.
What about the people? I think
it's time for us to take a clear-cut stand. The Prime Minister shouldn't buckle.
What about the people, Subramaniam Swamy? Are you looking at it purely politically? There are 70,000 people who are living within a 16-kilometer radius of Kudankulam.
Well, I don't know. The mobilization of people of this kind, I distrust, because I know how mobilization can take place without the people understanding what is on. No, what had happened is that one of the site directors of this project he was making a comment that there is a small probability, but that small probability we can always accommodate. That was blown out of proportion and a scare was created. I think if you go and talk to the people and explain to them, the same very people will change their minds.
I don't know how
there's emotional whipping up that has been done by...
I don't know this, Mr. Subramanian.
It has been done by communists on Pinkos in this.
Okay, so everyone who's opposing... So Nirmala Sitharaman is not a communist. And you know, Vaiko has not...
Well, she should answer what happened. She should answer what happened during the BJP period when this whole construction was going on.
Nirmala Sitharaman, I draw you in. I draw you in
now. They are objecting. It sounds very weird.
Let her respond. I don't know if she built up the Tsunami Rehabilitation Colony or whether Mr. Vaiko is the leader of the Tsunami Rehabilitation Colony. I let Nirmala Sitharaman come in. Is it only political?
I'm glad I'm coming in to say the BJP's opinion, because I'm hearing it from so many different people which seem to be very different from what the BJP wants. The BJP is not against finding alternative sources of power. We are keen to have clean power. We are keen to have this country develop very well and fast at that. But that does not mean we can take decisions all sitting in Delhi or with the scientists alone, however credible they are. I think today's environment demands that we have a participatory democracy which has to be recognized, and we have to engage with the people, share correct kind of information, remove and dispel all kinds of misconceptions if there are any in the minds of the people. And you really cannot, especially post Fukushima and post even last week somewhere in France, cannot afford to talk down to people. And somewhere else in a different channel, I did watch Mr. Narayan Swamy, the MOS, who's gone to Kudankulam, which I do not want to speak from the point of view of an opposition party alone, but I'm certainly voicing the concern of all of us, in the sense that yes, the minister went there. Let it not be a patronizing, oh, we've gone there to hear the people. You are meant to hear the people. You've gone there to hear them, and you will certainly convey the message. But from the BJP side, what we are saying, in order to avoid another Teesta river water kind of a situation where the chief minister of the area, the people of that area, and political representatives of the area all have reservations. I'm not saying just this one for Kudankulam. I will say this for Jetapur. I will say this for anything else. I think across the board in the country there is a demand for newer sources of power. But we cannot do it by alienating the voice of the people, and also by not sharing information, especially post Bhopal. We cannot afford to have this country undertake such major projects where you are going to end up with the people suffering. Post that, the people going with NGOs around the courts demanding relief, and also for generations suffering. So let's be sure the safeguards are adequate.
Is your position consistent?
Maintenance and regulations,
you have a consistent position on it.
But all this will have to be shared with the people.
Nirmala Sitharaman, do you have a consistent position on it?
All this will have to be shared with the people, and then their approval obtained.
No,
we cannot do things for the larger good because we believe in it, but we also have to take the people along.
Yeah, you see, the problem here is Dr. Balachandran says, Rachna Dhingra and Pradipta Ghosh, just coming to you. You know, the argument which Dr. Balachandran you put the last time is it's all ignorance. If I can summarize your basic argument last time, that it was complete ignorance on the part of all those people who have problems with nuclear power plants. Do you still maintain that position, sir?
No, Mr. Goswami.
Yes.
Mr. Goswami, please, I didn't say it was ignorance on the part of the people who are protesting. I said it was ignorance on the people who are participating in the panel discussion.
Okay.
Please, there's a large difference. Okay. Now, like I said that day, there's no point in arguing about things we all agree. That on major projects, people must be consulted, their fears must be addressed, and the DAE must make every effort. I don't think any of us disagree with that. So what is the point in going on hashing things which we all agree? We all agree that the DAE and the government, scientists and the public and what you call the civic society must engage the people and explain to them. You agree, I agree.
No, we don't agree.
Swami agrees.
No,
everybody agrees.
No,
so
what we don't agree. There is no agreement.
I mean, That is the point where there is a difference of opinion, but there is not an agreement of opinion.
No, Arnab Goswami.
I don't know where the agreement is.
Arnab Goswami, we are discussing because the government, together with its panel of eminent scientists, are not coming out completely with everything that has to be disclosed to the people. Maybe they have all the right arguments, but why is it that people, together with those who are sitting and asking questions, are not being given the right of information? Now, the end of the day, the assembly in Tamil Nadu also discusses it, and post which the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister has written to the Prime Minister. I think it's high time we are open about these kind of things, because
first of all, I want
Chief
to
Ministers will have to be taken on board. You cannot just bypass in the large, saying it is in the larger interest of the country.
You can't bypass the system, and let me say it very clearly, you can't bypass the system even when it comes to the Mithi Virdi project in Gujarat, where 780 hectares of land can severely affect, if I am not mistaken, 15 to 20 square kilometers radius area for radiation. There the Narendra Modi government has a different point of view. Therefore, I will not allow this to become political. I will stay focused on the issue. And on the issue itself, Dr. Ghosh, there is a...
One is not running away from debate. I think it is important for us
I am only making a point.
That wherever it is, we have to have participatory discussions.
That is exactly what the critics...
And don't say, don't talk political. We are from political parties, we will talk political.
Sure, that is exactly what the critics of the Mithi Virdi Jaspara village plant in the Bhavnagar district of the Saurashtra region of Gujarat, which is 6,000 megawatts, are saying, ma'am. That is exactly the argument that they are saying in Gujarat. I am only pointing it out to you. Rachna Dhingra, let me draw you in. Let me get into another voice. Rachna Dhingra wanted to come in right then when Dr. Balachandran was making initial comments. I think Bhopal was referred to. Rachna.
I just want to make 2 points, Arnab. First, when the whole nuclear liability bill was being debated, survivors from Bhopal filed an RTI request at the Department of Atomic Energy, asking them on what basis did they come up with a cap of $500 million for in terms of compensation with this. And the only answer we got was that this kind of information could not be given to us because it would not be in the interest of national security.
Okay.
And so if this is the answers we are going to get when people want to know more about nuclear energy and more about the compensation figure, especially from people who have been fighting for last 27 years to get justice. And when we talk about nuclear disasters, this is going to be 1,000 times worse than Bhopal. And by no means that nuclear energy is the most clean energy. I mean, just look at how much we have solar energy, which cost only 12 crores to generate 1 megawatt, whereas nuclear energy cost 20 crores. And then third point I want to make, that this VVER technology that is being brought into the in Karakoram from Russia has probably the worst name in terms of supplying nuclear energy. They have hidden
Dr. Balachandran,
the worst nuclear disaster.
No, Dr. Balachandran.
In Chernobyl, there are deaths that have now gone to 10 lakhs. 10 lakh people have died due to nuclear disaster, and official reported figures is only 40.
Dr. Balachandran, I don't know whether you're angry or amused because Dr. Balachandran, I mean, there is a point of view.
I'm amused like hell.
Are you saying anybody who doesn't have a degree in nuclear science has no right to have a point of view on what is going on here?
Look,
this is about not just nuclear science, it's about people.
I'm not saying anything. Let me tell you one thing.
Yes, sir.
Will you listen?
Yes, sir.
I would like to ask that lady, has she read the full Kudankulam environmental impact report? Does she know anything about the project? Has she read it?
That is the point.
I bet she hasn't.
That is the point.
Now she talks about, now the nuclear liability bill coming into nuclear power. I mean, it's like, I mean,
may I tell you what to respond? Dr. Balachandran.
She talks about nuclear liability bill.
Dr. Balachandran, can I ask you one thing?
To discuss that
Can I ask you one thing, Dr. Balachandran? That is exactly the point. 1 minute, sir, if you just listen to me for 1 minute. That is exactly the point. This entire reactors are being set up without sharing the environmental impact assessment report, without sharing the site evaluation study, without sharing the safety analysis report with the people or the people's representatives or the press. Now you can argue, Dr. Balachandran, the people don't have a right to it.
Who's asked for it? Wait. If you want that report, I'll give it to you today.
Yeah.
If you, okay.
Has there been a public hearing?
Available. It's on the net.
Okay, Sunita.
Yes,
And what do you mean to say that it is not public? What is that we're talking
Sunita
about?
Narayan. No. One second.
I don't know what language you are talking. Are you speaking English?
And this particular reactor is the most advanced reactor given by any country to any other country.
So
You can't compare this with the age-old reactors which burst.
Has there been a public hearing?
You cannot expect a better technology
So,
than
Sunita.
what you have got. Maybe that's what is bothering some countries.
One minute.
Because they are not able to sell the nuclear reactors to us.
One minute. Sunita. Okay, I go to Sunita. I haven't even gone to Dr. Ghosh yet. 1 minute. Yeah. Sunita.
Arnab, I just want to say it's time we really grew up on this debate. I think it's time we understood that if anyone asks a question about nuclear energy, they are neither a foreign agent, nor are they out to get India, nor are they against nuclear power. Okay? I for one am not per se against nuclear power, but I certainly believe that the nuclear establishment needs to come clean, and unless it comes clean and can share information with its own people, it will not be able to build nuclear power in this country. And I think it's time they accepted that much more seriously. I'm delighted that Dr. Balachandran is saying that they agree that this needs to be done, but all I can say is that they are an abysmal failure in talking to their own people.
Okay.
These are not people who are conspiracy people from outside. They're their own people.
1 minute. I must go to Dr. Pradipto Ghosh now. Dr. Ghosh, 1 minute. Dr. Ghosh. My question to Dr. Ghosh is 1 minute, Nirmala. Ms. Sitaraman, 1 minute. I just want to go to Dr. Ghosh. Dr. Ghosh, why is it that so many proposed plans are facing such trouble? In our enthusiasm for nuclear power, have we overlooked some concerns of the people who may live in these regions?
Okay, I think we need to keep in mind that as far as nuclear power is concerned, there is a divergence between the risks as have been revealed in the history of nuclear power over the past 60 years and the public perceptions. And the empirical knowledge that we have about the risks of nuclear power are that if you take the entire nuclear cycle and you take the entire cycle of all the other competing, at least the conventional power systems, then in terms of the mortalities per gigawatt year of power produced, nuclear energy has actually the least morbidity, so it has the least risk in that sense. But there is a divergence between the reality and the public perception, and this public perception has to be addressed. Unfortunately, this public perception gets reinforced every time there is a signal event such as Fukushima, and before that Chernobyl, and before that 3 Mile Island, and several other smaller accidents in between. Now I think you see, if I can just change tack a little bit here, after the Fukushima incident, China announced that it was putting its existing nuclear power plants under construction on hold until it undertook a full review of the risks and also reviewed the regulatory processes that are involved in licensing nuclear power plants. And our Prime Minister also announced that there would be a completely revamped and totally independent regulatory body. And what I believe is that we need, in order to allay public fears, and again I do not have any specific information about the risks of the technology involved in Kudakulam or the specific or the site specific risks, but I think that in order to address public perceptions, this regulatory body needs to be set up at the earliest, and it needs to review all the plants under construction, and then of course it must put in the public domain all the information on the basis on which it has made its assessment. And I think that this would go some way towards assuaging the apprehensions of people. There is an issue of transparency, there is an issue of information, there is an issue of in a sense that the nuclear establishment has not in fact reached out and addressed the concerns of the local people.
No, but my question is,
or wider constituencies in the country and elsewhere on the risks of nuclear power.
My question to Dr. Balachandran is,
behoves them to undertake this exercise.
My question to Dr. Balachandran, Dr. Balachandran, please tell me, if the nuclear establishment is right 1 minute, sir. Let me complete. So you don't let when the nuclear establishment is right, then can you? If the nuclear establishment was completely right, then can you tell me, sir, why the Haripur nuclear project was held back? What was the reason for it? If none of these apprehensions are...
Can I answer? Look, if you there is no Haripur contract. The Russians have not agreed to supply any reactors to Haripur so far. The French have not signed any agreement to sign reactors to Jaitapur. The Americans have not signed any agreement to sign. None of the foreign countries are willing to supply reactors to India. Even in Kudankulam 3 and 4, although there is an intergovernmental agreement, the Russians are not now willing to supply. So don't say Haripur was cancelled, because there was no Haripur project at all. Now coming back to your DAE question.
Sir, I completely agree. Sir, I completely contest your point of view on Haripur.
It is not that they are holding back.
There was
said the environmental impact statement is available. If I want, I can talk to you hours about it. It's about 800 pages. Now they should simplify it, and the people who say that they don't give information, they should read it and then say what information is not there. It is no point in saying I have not read the report. The report is there available, but I know it is not complete.
Sir, that 2 points.
Mind boggles. If they read, any of them have read the report, sir, and say, look, this aspect is not covered in that report, I am willing to debate that.
1 minute, 2 points.
But if they say I have not read the report, sir, I can't read the report, what am I supposed to talk?
Okay. Sir, there are two points I'd like to quickly make. I don't want to get into a debate. Haripur was there. You may say it's not there. The government made it clear in August 2011 it's opposed to the setting up of a nuclear power plant in Haripur. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is all those reports which you mentioned, the EIA report, the site evaluation study, the safety analysis report, have not been shared with the people. I just want to make those 2 points, for your humble submission out there. Nirmala Sitharaman wanted to come in. Yes, Nirmala Sitharaman. My question is on the people. 70,000 people.
Arnav, we are talking of a government which did not have enough steps taken as regards Bhopal. Even today we have such heated debates about how this government has handled Bhopal tragedy. Again, during the Civil Nuclear Liabilities Bills discussion in the Parliament, you saw how half-heartedly information was being shared. About the 500 million whatever ceiling, you knew how the operator's liability business also was discussed half-heartedly, with the government almost pushing the agenda on to the members of Parliament. If this is the way members of Parliament are being treated, experts even after 20 years are being treated as regards Bhopal, people have justification to suspect that things are happening bypassing their concerns.
Why the hurry?
Therefore, I don't expect, I can understand the scientists who are on the panel being very frustrated about technical information not being shared with the people. But I think at some stage, the political leadership will have to do that interface's job, which they are not doing. I understand there's a lot of work done by the scientists who have put it all on the website, but the people who are sitting there are not going to be sitting and reading the websites. It's for the political leadership which is going to translate this into action, which has to reach out to the people, take them on board, and then explain the necessity and go forward.
No, my question is, what's the great hurry?
Unless the people are taken on board.
Yeah, my question.
So let us not, and as regards
the great hurry?
I'm not trying to.
1 minute,
I don't want you to think that I'm having one standard for the Congress ruled states and the other for BJP ruled states.
Yeah.
I think time has come in this country that across the board, all over, we have to have a revisit of nuclear power. We need power. We understand that nuclear power gives us a very good option, but clean option also. But we have to see what are the risks involved, and we cannot afford to rush unless we take the people along.
My question is, I'm still baffled completely. I want to understand, Sunita Nayan, what's the great hurry? What is the hurry to push ahead with this, nuclear power? Let's do it in the next 1.5 years. Let's do it in the next 2 years. Let's get everything in place. What's the tearing hurry to push this through without proper checks?
And be fair on the government. Be fair just on one issue, that Kudankulam has certainly been a plant in the making. So nobody can say, in fact, the criticism of Kudankulam is that it has been much delayed. But the fact of the matter is that on every other issue on nuclear, the government has been in a hurry. And I think even Kudankulam has suffered because of the hurry that government has shown in Jaitapur and in other places, and people have a very strong sense that they are not being properly informed of the risks, of the dangers. The Prime Minister said after Fukushima that there would be an inquiry that would be made public. I have not seen that report being made public. It has not been discussed. The regulatory authority which is being proposed and the initial drafts as reported in the press suggest the same people who are in the nuclear establishment will now just get a new name called the Nuclear Regulatory Board. If we keep this business closed, we will not build people's confidence. And I think that is the message that the nuclear establishment must learn.
Simple question here. Now let's leave all the business part of it, how much investment is to be put aside. Tell me, Mr. Subramaniam Swamy, as per statistics which I have, more than 1 million people live within a 30-kilometer radius of this particular plant, which far exceeds the AERB stipulations. Is it possible? I don't know, maybe Dr. Balachandran can add on to it. Is it possible to evacuate these many people quickly and efficiently in case of a nuclear disaster at Kudankulam?
You are wrong in saying 1 million people live within 30 kilometers.
30 kilometer radius.
Now you are wrong. If you want to discuss that with facts and figures, I am willing to do that. But if you want to throw numbers at me, I can throw equally other numbers at you. So I am as good at numbers as you are.
Sir,
please choose your.
Sir, I have checked the numbers.
There is not 1 million people within 30 kilometers of Kudankulam.
Okay, let's reduce.
I do not know where you got that figure.
Let me tell you then.
2011 census figure does not show that.
1 minute.
I don't know. You make up your own figures and you come out and gap it on the TV.
Okay, then let me tell you. Let me rephrase it. Because I don't add any, I don't add any less significance to 1 person dying or 1 million dying. Here the question is there are at least 3 large settlements. Subramaniam Swamy, you can take that as well. In the 5 kilometer zone, Kudankulam population 20,000. Then there is Idin Thakarai, which is population 12,000. The Tsunami Rehabilitation Colony 2,000. Kudankulam and the second place are within 2 to 4 kilometers from the plant as the crow flies. These are actual numbers of people who will be affected.
What do you mean by affected? It says you are assuming that this is the only project, nuclear projects are the only ones which have any risk of explosion.
But there is a risk.
There are people who are saying that Terry Dam can burst any day and Delhi will be flooded.
No, so
there are the Keralites who say that Mulla Periyar can flood the whole of Kerala. Any of these projects have a certain amount of risk, but these risks are within the manageable limits.
No, but
I don't see why we should now talk in terms of reversing science.
Mr. Swamy,
when you have such a huge opportunity in thorium, why should we now be raising all these questions?
Mr. Swamy,
I think the main problem seems to be something else.
No, Mr. Swamy, this country has seen Bhopal happen, and I am not making this up. This is a Tamil Nadu government order which stipulates the population cannot exceed 10,000.
Bhopal was a private company where the government of the day failed to ensure that it was properly policed or regulated. Now here this is a bilateral between two countries, both countries very responsible, both countries which have seen it.
Corporation. But the
yes, it was a multinational corporation. How can you compare that with two governments making a nuclear reactor?
Governments have not learned.
It cannot be compared at all.
Bhopal-like disaster.
And I think just because Bhopal has happened does mean we don't go in for modern science at all.
I think we're going to have to look at the reality of it. Mr. Balachandran, I can tell you these numbers are absolutely 100% accurate. My focus right now is on the people.
You are wrong. I'm sorry. The figures that I got, census figures I got, is different from yours. Yeah. So please, if you want to discuss it, you bring your figures, I'll bring my figures.
70,000 people within 16 kilometers. 70,000.
What are you talking about? 5 kilometers, 20,000.
Sir, the 70...
I'm sorry, I got the figures here, I got the map here. If you want, please come to my desk, I'll show it to you.
Which year is it, sir?
And the crowd that is collected, we cannot be sure they haven't been brought one promise of biryani and 250 rupees.
No, I think, isn't that trivializing it? Isn't that trivializing?
A lot of people say it.
No, isn't that trivializing it? That's trivializing. Sunita
Not a
Narayan.
question of trivializing. I know what Mr. Vaiko and I know what the Naxalites and the Maoists in Tamil Nadu can do about mobilizing crowds.
Sunita.
It's very easy to mobilize crowds.
Sunita is responding to this
consideration.
Sunita.
Arnab, how do you respond to this? This is despicable. This is just despicable. I mean, the fact of the matter is, there are people there,
despicable,
whether they know whether they're right or wrong,
despicable.
Mr. Swami, let's stop calling each other names and stop finger pointing.
Well, you started it by calling it despicable.
There are people there, they are concerned.
You who started calling names. I can equal you on that.
Mr. Swami, okay, if I called your name, I'm really very sorry. But the fact of the matter is that I would expect a little more maturity from you. I would expect a little more maturity from you. I would expect you to understand the fact that here are people, however they're right or they're wrong, or they're right or they're wrong, they need to be spoken to, they need to be understood, their concerns need to be understood, and they need to be, and if the nuclear establishment is indeed right, then it will have the ability to explain to its own people. And the fact is that is the weakness that we are seeing here. There has been too much national security, there has been too much cloak and dagger on nuclear issue.
Well, I can only say this, that after Fukushima, China, Germany, Switzerland, Israel, Malaysia, Thailand, even the Philippines, they all reviewed their nuclear power programs. And therefore there needs to be some, we need to look at this debate. It can't be rushed through. It can't be rushed through. But I want to go back.
There has been a review. Mr. Arnab Goswami, there has been a review. You have not seen the review.
Where's the review? Where's the review, sir, on paper?
Yes, so where is the review? Where is the review?
It is in the department. The Prime Minister himself has ordered a review after the Japanese explosion.
Where are the fruits of that review?
Where is the review?
This issue came up only because Jayalalitha sent an ultimatum.
Not the review for you.
So if Jayalalitha had not sent an ultimatum, the issue would not even have come to the public for.
Jayalalitha can also get a resolution passed saying that Tamil sentiments should be respected and therefore those who killed Rajiv Gandhi should be let off.
No, we look at.
I think we are missing.
We look at issue by issue.
We look at particular step we need to take.
But Nirmal,
Arnab Goswami, just allow me to speak for a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
See, I can see the frustration of people who are informed on this. I can also equally see the frustration of the people who want assurances, very clear understanding of what is going on. Are we as a country prepared for high level, expert managed safeguards? Japan saw how they could not. You may call that as an outdated technology. But for a country as advanced with great sense of civic, living and responsibility, struggling to cope with Fukushima, I think people in India are justifiably anxious on safeguards.
Okay.
And also with the government, especially when it handled the Bhopal tragedy the way it handled then and even today, and again the way in which it bulldozed itself against the opposition, the need of the hour is to go with all the facts to the people. Let them be even mobilized, as Dr. Swami says, mobilized for biryani or anything. I think that's every voice will have to be answered. Well, and if indeed these experts have the answer, why not please go and talk to them? The state's chief minister has voiced a concern.
I think we also need to.
Ministers ask questions. Let's answer
we also need to.
Let us give it.
We also need to go into this.
I think what the BJP is also saying.
Yes, understood, ma'am. We also need to go into this debate, don't we, Dr. Ghosh, realizing that this is not the only source of power. I mean, there are alternatives in this country to plunge headlong saying this or nothing.
This is certainly not the only source of power, and you know, in our system, in our energy strategy, we cannot actually put all our eggs in one basket.
True.
There has to be a diversity of of power sources that we need to implement in order to secure our energy security. Now, having said that, I think that some steps need to be taken. One is that there has to be a review of the specific risks of each of the plants under construction by an independent regulatory body, which of course must have the necessary expertise, but also must be transparent in what it is doing. It must be transparent in respect to the risk standards that it has adopted, with respect to the risk methodologies that it has adopted, and it must communicate to the lay public in meaningful terms what precisely the risks are and what precisely the options that have been adopted to mitigate these risks.
I think we need a clearer transparency of communication, less opacity, more sagacity in this whole debate. We'll follow it up. Gentlemen, I know we have lots of, ladies and gentlemen, we have different points of view tonight. Let's see if we can, where the story goes. As of now, of course, it has strong political overtones. Thank you very much.